My name is Marissa Cole. I'm 34 years old. And I didn't understand how silence could become a weapon until the man I loved started using it with precision. Not the loud kind of silence. Not slam doors or explosive fights. Quiet kind. The kind that creeps in slowly and convinces you that you are the problem for noticing it. It started with a sentence that shouldn't have mattered. Stop acting like my mother. I can do whatever I want. Caleb said it without raising his voice. Without anger. Without hesitation. Like it had been waiting in his mouth for weeks. Rehearsed until it felt justified. That was the part that stayed with me, the calm. Not shaky. Not defensive. Certain. As if my concern had crossed a line and become an offense. Caleb Wright and I had been together for 5 years. 5 years is long enough to stop introducing someone as my boyfriend, and start calling them my life. 3 of those years we lived together in a downtown apartment that looked exactly like what 2 stable adults were supposed to live in. Neutral walls. Matching furniture. A lease with both our names printed neatly at the bottom. From the outside we looked solid. Inside, the weight was uneven. I paid around 70% of the bills. Not because he demanded it. Not because I was blind. Because he had student loans and I made more money. And I believed partnership meant lifting more when the other person needed it. I told myself love was flexible like that. For a long time I didn't mind. Not until the imbalance stopped being financial and started being emotional. It happened quietly. Caleb didn't leave. He didn't threaten. He didn't cheat, at least not openly. He just drifted. He was there physically. His keys still landed in the ceramic bowl by the door every night. His sneakers stayed kicked off beside the couch. His hoodie lived permanently draped over the back of the dining chair like a lazy claim of territory. But his attention, that stayed just out of reach. Late nights with the guys. Phone always face down. Laughing at something on the screen and angling it away without realizing he was doing it. How was your day? Asked. Fine. Where'd you go after work? Just out. With who? Friends. Answers that technically counted but never felt complete. And if I pressed even gently, his shoulders would tense like I'd touched a bruise. So I stopped asking. I told myself all the comforting lies women are taught to use when something feels wrong but hasn't exploded yet. Everyone goes through phases. Work stress. Routine dulls things. 5 years is long enough for magic to quiet down. But my body noticed what my mind tried to dismiss. The way he kissed me like it was a task instead of a reflex. The way he'd say he was tired, then stay up scrolling for hours beside me in bed. Thumb moving endlessly, like he was searching for something he couldn't find in the room with me. Then Friday morning came. I was in the kitchen making coffee. 2 mugs. I didn't even think about it. Muscle memory. Love memory. Caleb walked out of the bedroom carrying an overnight bag. Not a gym bag. Not a backpack. An overnight bag. My chest tightened before my brain caught up. He didn't look at me right away. Moved fast like he wanted to be out the door before the apartment noticed. Going somewhere. Yes. Light voice. Usual. Normal. He paused just slightly like my question was an inconvenience. Guys' weekend. Lucas's place. Oh. And blinked. You didn't mention it. I'm mentioning it now. The sharp edge at the end of his sentence didn't match what I'd said. I wrapped both hands around my mug, feeling the heat through the ceramic. Okay. When will you be back? Sunday night. The kind of answer designed to end the conversation. I tried once more carefully. Do you want me to feed Oliver? Oliver was his cat. Technically, he'd adopted him before we met. But 3 years of shared mornings and routines blur ownership lines. That gray and white menace slept on my legs, screamed for treats like he paid rent, and followed me into the bathroom like I might disappear. Caleb shook his head. He'll be fine until I get back. He didn't say I'll miss you. He didn't say text me. He didn't say love you. I watched him sling the bag over his shoulder and waited. For the kiss. For the squeeze at my waist. For the casual love you that acted like punctuation before leaving. Instead, he reached for the door. Caleb, I said before I could stop myself. He turned halfway. What? The word cut. I swallowed. Have fun. He studied me for a moment like he was deciding whether fun was even allowed around me. Then he left. The door clicked shut. And the apartment exhaled. It felt different immediately, like it had been holding its breath around him. I stood there with 2 mugs of coffee, one of them useless now. Oliver jumped onto the counter and sniffed the empty space. Yeah, I whispered. Me too. Friday passed. I didn't text right away. I refused to be that girlfriend, the one who couldn't let a man breathe. I wanted to prove to him and to myself that I could give space without shrinking. By Saturday morning, the silence didn't feel like space anymore. Felt like a wall. So I sent one message. Hope you're having a good time. Oliver's mad you're gone. He knocked over your plant. Like, harmless. Tether. No response. Saturday afternoon, I checked my phone more times than I want to admit. Every time I told myself the same lie. He's busy. He'll text later. Saturday night I called. Straight to voicemail. I stared at the screen after it went dark, listening to the hum of the refrigerator like it was trying to comfort me. Sunday morning I tried again. Voicemail. The rational part of my brain started building excuses like scaffolding. Maybe his phone died. Maybe they went somewhere remote. Maybe he's unplugging. But there's unplugging. And then there's disappearing. And in 5 years, Caleb had never disappeared on me like this. Sunday afternoon my phone rang. I answered so fast I didn't let it ring twice. What's up, he said. No apology. No warmth. Just what's up like I was the interruption. I was worried, I said. I texted. I called. He exhaled loudly. Why are you blowing up my phone? My stomach dropped. I texted once. Called twice. In 2 days. That's blowing up my phone, Marissa. I'm with Lucas. I'm allowed to have time with my friends without checking in every 5 minutes. The way he said it twisted something deep in my chest. I'm not asking for constant updates, I said carefully. But disappearing for days without a single message, that's not normal for us. There was a pause. Then he laughed. Short. Humorless. Normal for us. Or normal for what you think it should be. My grip tightened. Caleb, what's going on? Nothing's going on. His voice turned cold. I'm just tired of feeling like I have to report to you every time I leave the house. It's suffocating. That word again. Suffocating. Like my love was a hand around his throat. I don't make you report to me, I said. I expect basic communication. See, he snapped. That right there. You expect. You always expect something from me. Yes, I said, my voice shaking despite my effort. I expect my boyfriend to let me know he's alive. Silence. Then quieter. Harper. Stop acting like my mother. I can do whatever I want. Something went hot in my chest. This wasn't frustration. This was strategy. I'm not doing this, he said. I'll be home when I get home. The call ended. The screen went dark. And I understood something terrifying. This wasn't about one weekend. This was distance. Manufactured distance. The kind someone creates when they want out but don't want to be the villain. They provoke you until you react. Then point and say, see. This is why. I sat on the couch. Oliver climbed into my lap like he'd been waiting for me to break. I stared at the wall where a framed photo of us used to hang. Caleb had taken it down weeks ago. Said he was redecorating. He never put it back. Monday morning arrived. His side of the bed untouched. Toothbrush dry. No sign of return. I sent one text. Are you coming back today? 3 hours later. Probably tonight. Probably. That word cracked something open inside me. Standing in that quiet apartment, with Oliver circling my ankles like a question mark, I realized something that made my throat tighten. If I stayed, waiting for apologies, waiting for honesty, I would spend the rest of this relationship negotiating for basic respect. And I was too tired for that. I walked into the bedroom, opened my closet, and for the first time I didn't feel like I was about to beg. I felt like I was about to pack. I didn't pack like someone in a movie. There was no dramatic sobbing into suitcases. No ripping photos off the wall. No rage-fueled throwing of clothes. I packed the way I handle fear. Quietly. Carefully. Like a checklist. Because if I let myself turn it into a scene, I would have to feel everything all at once. And I wasn't ready to drown in that. I started with what was undeniably mine. Clothes folded with the same precision I'd used when we first moved in. Back when I believed we were building something permanent. Back then, Caleb teased me for being too organized. Called me rigid. Controlling. Now I understood something bitter. He only liked my structure when it benefited him. When it made life easier, when it smoothed his edges, when it carried more weight than it asked for in return. The moment my structure required accountability, it became suffocating. Work laptop. Books, half from grad school, full of sticky notes and highlighted passages. The other half self-help titles I'd bought in the past year. Convinced there had to be a right way to love someone without losing yourself. Jewelry box. Then the larger things. The TV in the living room. I bought it after my promotion last year. A quiet celebration gift to myself that Caleb quickly labeled ours. The coffee maker that had followed me through 3 apartments and 2 breakups before him. My kitchen tools. My knives. My cast iron skillet. My toolbox. That one always surprised people. Like women can't own tools unless it's a quirky personality trait. But my dad taught me how to fix things before he taught me algebra. And once you learn how to tighten a loose hinge yourself, you stop tolerating doors that don't close properly. I moved room by room, taking only what was mine. But I made sure I took all of it. I didn't touch Caleb's things. His clothes stayed. His gaming console stayed. The decorative sign his sister gave us, "Home is where the heart is," stayed on the wall, mocking the emptiness around it. I left the couch. Fighting over a couch felt like the kind of petty that stains your soul. But I took the TV stand it sat on. 'Cause it was mine. And I was done shrinking myself to make someone else comfortable. By late afternoon the apartment looked wrong. Not empty, just unbalanced. Like a place where someone had lived and then vanished without explanation. Blank walls where my bookshelf had been. Bare counters where the coffee maker used to live. A lamp sitting on the floor because the end table was gone. Oliver paced the space like he was counting losses. I placed the last box by the door and stared at the kitchen counter. That's where the note would go. I didn't want to explain myself. I didn't want to plead for understanding. Caleb understood. He just didn't care enough to act like it. So I wrote the words he'd handed me and gave them back. "You're right. You can do whatever you want. How can I?" I left it beside his key bowl, locked the door, and walked away without crying. Not yet. I drove straight to my best friend Rachel's house. Rachel lived across town in a small, inherited home with creaky floors and the kind of warmth that makes you feel human again the moment you step inside. When she opened the door and saw my car loaded with boxes, her expression changed instantly. "Maris, what happened?" "I can't talk about it yet," I said, my voice thinner than I meant it to be. She didn't push. That's why she was Rachel. She just stepped aside. "Okay. Come in." We unloaded boxes into her guest room without conversation. She watched me the way you watch someone who's holding themselves together with thread, memorizing my face for later. That night I sat on the edge of the bed staring at my phone. No messages. No missed calls. For a 6-second, I wondered if Caleb would even notice. Then my phone buzzed. Caleb calling. I let it ring. Buzzed again. And again. Each vibration felt like a different emotion trying to crawl up my throat. Anger, fear, hope, and that humiliating instinct to fix things. I flipped my phone face down, the way he always did, and didn't answer. Tuesday morning I went to work like nothing was happening. That was the strangest part. How the world keeps moving while yours is breaking quietly. By noon, Caleb had called 8 times. The man who couldn't send one text in 3 days suddenly had all the time in the world. During lunch I finally replied, "I'm at work. What's up?" His response came instantly. "Where's all your stuff? Not are you okay? Not can we talk? Just where's your stuff?" Like I'd stolen something. I stared at the screen. I took my things, I typed back. 3 dots appeared. "You took everything." "What the hell, Marissa?" I forced my hands to stay steady. "I took what belongs to me. Your things are still there. Why would you do this? This is insane. You moved out because I wanted space for one weekend." There it was. The rewrite. "I moved out because you disappeared for 3 days and told me I was suffocating for expecting basic communication." Silence. "I never said you were acting like my mother." I didn't respond. I wasn't going to play the game where he controlled reality by denying words he knew he'd said. That evening when I returned to Rachel's, There was a knock at the door. Not polite. Urgent. Rachel looked through the peephole. Marissa, he's here. My stomach dropped. I'll talk to him, I said, surprising myself. I stepped onto the porch and closed the door behind me. Caleb stood there, arms crossed, jaw tight. Not guilty. Cornered. We need to talk, he said. Not a request. Demand. We can talk here, I replied. He frowned. Privately. This is private enough. He tried control again. You can't just leave. We have a lease. I know, I said calmly. I'll pay my share until it's sorted. He stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. You're talking like this is over. It is. That landed. You're blowing this out of proportion, he said. I wanted space. You vanished. I was at Lucas's. What's his address? Pause was small. But it was there. Why does that matter? Because if you were there, you wouldn't need to think. You don't trust me. Not anymore. That was when fear flashed across his face. Call him, I said. Put him on speaker. I don't have to prove anything. You're right, I replied. And now I know. I turned to leave. Marissa, please. I didn't stop. 2 days later, he called from an unknown number. Lucas is here, Caleb said quickly. He'll tell you I was with him. Lucas confirmed it. Too fast, too rehearsed. So I asked one question. Was Caleb's phone working the whole weekend? Silence. Long enough to be an answer. I'm handing the phone back to Caleb, Lucas said. Caleb snapped. Are you satisfied? No, I said. But I'm done. He called me paranoid, controlling, exhausting. Then finally, truth leaked. I wasn't there the whole time, he admitted. I went to a concert with a woman from work. My chest tightened. And you hid it, I said. Ignored me. Right. And blamed me for noticing. It didn't mean anything, he said. That's not the point. The point was this. When honesty is optional, trust is impossible. I can't do this anymore, he said coldly. Then we agree, I replied. He moved out by the end of the month. The lease was settled through lawyers. I moved into a small studio across town. Nothing fancy. But it was mine. A few weeks later, I heard he was officially dating the woman from work. Funny how timelines tell the truth when people don't.